Hi, guys. Welcome to this morning's trending. Happy Friday. You're with me today on my own again. The boys have finished their sponsored bike ride. They're walking like cowboys right now. So perhaps they need some Wake Up World coffee, which you can get at shop.iconic.com. Use the code trending for 10% off. So let's have a look at the wacky world of news today. The first story is McDonald's to employ AI at 43,000 locations. I thought they did it sometimes, if you've ever been in there, to speed up service. Technology solutions will alleviate the stress. I think it's the stress on the staff, or maybe it's the stress on the shopper. I'm not quite sure. I don't know why you go back to McDonald's if it stressed you out in the first place, but there you go. McDonald's is the latest fast food restaurant to use artificial intelligence to step up its game. Step up its game. You can see this coming in left, right, and center now. That people are going to be relying on AI all over the place. This is speeding up something crooked, as my nan used to say. The fast food giant is overhauling all 43,000 restaurants with an AI makeover in an attempt to cut wait times and make a better experience for both customers and employees. Upgrades will start with internet connected kitchen equipment. That's what you want, your spatula connected to your Wi-Fi. But this is where we're heading, the internet of all things. And we've talked about this before, including the internet of bodies, where your fridge will tell the government how much meat you've got in there and if you've gone over your meat rations. As absurd as this sounds, this is very much part of what the smart city has been pushing for a very long time. And now we see it playing out. And in McDonald's, of all places, they're going to connect their knives and forks to the internet. Upgrades will start with the internet connected kitchen equipment. That's just bizarre to me. AI enabled drive throughs. I don't know what that means. And AI powered tools for managers to help make sure that orders are accurate. And so restaurants can predict equipment issues before they shut down. I always I've the AI will go wrong and you will get like some McNuggets stuck in your McFlurry from time to time because that's bound to happen. We had that story of that Russian um, uh, nuclear. He wasn't a physicist, but he was looking after the site, and he just decided that the US wasn't trying to bomb Russia with some missiles, and practically saved the world by not hitting the "Let's respond and nuke everyone" button because he didn't believe the computer. I mean, this is slightly less, to be fair, serious. But who wants McNuggets in your McFlurry? No one. So that's the first story, and that is quite clearly they're rolling out this AI technology now everywhere, and all everything will be connected to the internet of all things, and thus the internet of bodies. And people are just letting it roll on. It's a help. It's an aid. There's adverts you see, YouTube adverts of it being your best friend. You can see Androsine, the guy pushing this with Elon Musk. He's talking about it being your best friend and it will never let you down and it'll always be there for you, which it will be because it'll be watching you 24/7 and reporting on you. So you will be wary of every little thing you do. And like if you're being watched, you change your behavior. Of course you do, just from the fact you're being watched. We've talked about this on the quantum level, is that if a particle knows that it's being observed, it changes its form to turn up in the form that it's supposed to turn up to. So we have something, a level of this on a deep quantum level that most people are not aware of or haven't kind of connected to the fact that these things will be watching you all the time and have taken that principle and they know that your behavior will change because therefore you're being watched. It's in 1984. Aldous Huxley wrote this a long time. Julian Huxley was his brother, and Julian Huxley was the guy that came up with the term transhumanist, or kind of made it popular because he was given the task of rebranding eugenics, which was a dirty word after the Nazis went and spoiled it for everyone like they do everything else. It's absurd. So McDonald's now is going to be AI McDonald's, and eventually, obviously, we're going to get to the point where we don't have human beings in these places at all. You're going to have the machines basically filtering through people as they eat their McDonald's into the car park, into the self-driving car, spat out at the end of their doorway, probably picked up and carried by the little waiter robots and put in bed where they probably won't be able to get out of after too many McDonald's. It's an amazing jump forward. I know it's a little thing and it seems kind of funny, and it is a bit funny, but it's a move forward into the technocracy that we see coming left, right, and center. And 500 billion Donald Trump's put into his Stargate project, when he's not telling you that you are the Stargate. You are the one with these creative ideas and what they come through. They're tapping into that, and they want to kind of take that away from creating something nice here and just plug it straight back into their messianic matrix, for want of a better term. That's a pretty good term, to be fair. So the next story is Minister threatens law change after two-tier rail. This is a bit of a come down, isn't it? After the McDonald's one there, this is a bit more serious. So I'm going to have to put on my serious um, voice now for presenting. Minister threatens law change after two-tier rail. Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood, great name, has told the Sentencing Council she will review its powers and legislate if necessary following a row over its new guidance on sending people to jail. Now, this is bizarre. When you see what's behind this, this to me just seems about pitting people, again, like groups of people against each other. We have this in the UK at the moment, this Britain First thing pitted against those coming over of the Islamic faith and all of this stuff. And that's to do with this messianic nonsense as well. It's to do with the pitting the East versus the West in a mutually destructive war. And this is part of just gaslighting it. They're just gaslighting things. So the changes, which are due to come into force in England and Wales next month, would make the ethnicity or faith of an offender a bigger factor when deciding whether to jail them. I mean, it's not a factor in, they're not saying it's a factor in what they might have ideologically worshipped or ideologically gone along with. It's what's preferred. It seems to be that way. If not, it's causing some havoc between people anyway, between groups. Ministers do not have the power to overturn this guidance, but in a letter, Mahmood urged the council's chairman to reconsider as soon as possible, which I think is a good idea because it's clearly divide and conquer and divide and rule. Conservatives Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick said the new rules were anti-white and anti-Christian and amounted to two-tier justice. Now, where we've heard this all the time, Gaz talks about two-tier policing, two-tier justice, same thing. They want people to feel like they're being treated differently, so they fight against each other. Now, for me, the only real two-tier, I mean, it does go on, but the real two-tier is between these guys that have never done a job in their lives and are earning billions a month and billions a year even, and they don't know what it's like to actually run a normal life and a small business. These are these politicians and above and those who control them. That's the real two-tier, but they are happy to pit us against each other, and I think that's what this is about. In a post on social media, he said that if the government did not act, he would challenge the rules in court. The Sentencing Council said the guidance would ensure courts had the most comprehensive information available to hand out an appropriate sentence and could address disadvantages faced within the criminal justice system. Again, it's about data, building up profiles of you. And as we go through this, there'll be another story which just shows that they want to profile you so much as much as possible. And this again is all part of gathering a data and avatar online of you, and also like pre-crime as well and future crimes, which we know Malay has been put in a he's put in a kind of system in Argentina that's about future crimes. How probable are you to commit crimes in the future? And where is that going to lead if AI's kind of got the algorithms and coming up with the equations there? So the article goes on to say official figures show that offenders from ethnic minorities consistently get longer sentences than white offenders for indictable offences. Now, again, just putting that in an article is pitting two groups of people. We're all people, all human beings against each other. And that's what these narratives, I believe, are about. They're not so much about the policy, although obviously that's going to have a massive effect. It's about divide and conquer, divide and rule, and then pit them against each other. That's what that's about, and that's going through the UK Parliament at the moment. So they've kind of jumped on at whatever level, much higher than these guys were, because I believe this lady is trying to do the right thing. She clearly sees an issue with this. But it is really about pitting people against each other and dividing the country. And then we're far weaker than we are if we stood together and said, well, we're human beings. We all want to be treated the same, fairly, and fairly compared to you guys up there who think that you're lording it over us. They're laughing at even these lower politicians. They're laughing at them as well. So, don't let them gaslight you into hating each other. That's what it's all about, in my opinion, here. But then there's the data level of it, that data avatar they're building on you, this Palantir, Peter Thiel type avatar that they're building of you, the Elon Musk cloud. It always going to come together, you know. That's what it's all about. Call me a conspiracy theorist, but that seems to be the way. Um, and all of these do connect, and that's the issue. Like David obviously does the dot connector for a reason, because they do connect. And once you start to see, like, that does play into that. Now that could be an agenda, which I believe it is. Other people would see it as just the way of the world evolving. We're not evolving in a great way right now, are we? I think we can all maybe come together and agree on that at least. So this next one is from Wired. Now, this was really interesting for all the Musk and Trump supporters out there. I don't think I did any Trump ones yesterday either. Sounds rude. I don't think I did any Trump stories yesterday. How juvenile of me. You laughed too, didn't you? I don't think I've done any Trump stories yesterday, but I'm not going to do it today because this is about Elon Musk. And sometimes you can say they are one of the same. So, some staffers at Elon Musk's so called Department of Government Efficiency are drawing robust taxpayer funded salaries from the federal agencies that they are slashing and burning. So, they are actually policing themselves and going into work and going, I don't really get on well with Julie. She's got those horrible sandwiches that stink, the tuna ones. Should we get rid of her? And they're basically just getting rid of people at work they don't like by the looks of it. And this is from Wired. Jeremy Lewin, one of the Doge employees tasked with dismantling USAID, who has also played a role in Doge's incursions into the National Institute of Health and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is listed as making just over 167,000 annually. Wired has confirmed Lewin is assigned to the Office of the Administrator within the General Service Administration. They always give them ridiculous titles. You don't fit that on a plaque. Carl Shute, a software engineer at the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agencies, is listed as drawing a salary of 195,200 through GSA, where he is assigned to the Office of the Deputy Administrator. This is the maximum amount that any general schedule federal employee can make annually, including bonuses. You cannot be offered any more under any circumstances, the GSA Compensation and Benefits website reads. So here we've got more of that as well. Got another fella, Nate Kavanagh, at 28-year-old tech entrepreneur, has taken a visible internal role interviewing GSA employees as part of Doge's work at the agency. Um, he's listed as being paid just over 120,000 a year, according to Doge's official website. The average GSA employee makes 128,000 a year, has worked at the agency for 13 years. So they are basically policing their own system. It's ridiculous, whilst taking money from the very agencies that they say are overspending. So their agents are taking money from the government and getting rid of people because they're taking money from the government. Can you see that this kind of Sabbatean going in there, taking over, underlining and undermining everything, the FBI, the CIA, people hear these words and it is very easy to go, oh, they're all bad. That's ridiculous, obviously. But it is an easy trap to fall into. So there's good people and horrible people in all systems. And to me, this looks like some sort of Jesuit Sabbatean infiltration of these systems and going in and getting rid of anyone who might stand in their way. I think that might well be the case here with this Doge. So that's a very, very interesting one. So while they're saying they're saving loads of money, the people that are actually cutting the jobs of the others are actually taking money from the government at the same time. That's a lot of money, like $130,000 a year. I mean, it's an absurd amount of money for most people to even think about, who get by on a grand a month. between a family and a grand and a half if you're doing well. Like if some people are on that lower amount, this is just these are these people that are going around saying other people are taking up too much money of the US government's money and then going, look over there, the Zelensky stealing it all, which he is, obviously. But still, they're doing their part as well. It's very, very convoluted and very, very all up in the air, isn't it? So now we come back to this AI technology and how all this data gathering is going on at the same time. There is a big shift in the world happening now, going across to these technocrats and bureaucrats. And it's quite clear that what I spoke about, it's a chap called Curtis Yarvin, who's very much an influence on the likes of Donald Trump and Peter Thiel and JD Vance, and he's actually funded by Peter Thiel as well. And he came up with a concept which was like a patchwork society, and you could see from what he was writing about, it's a very disturbing take on what they see humans as a commodity. And he's very much into this transhumanist agenda, and they're all in this together. This is what I would say is like a techno monarchy, but really, actually, above that, I would class it as a corporation of the world. You would have a CEO of the world. This would be a corporate hierarchy, and that's how they wanted to see it, as a massive corporation and run it like a corporation. And that's what these guys want. And to be able to do that, they need the technology in place. So Apple takes legal action in UK data privacy row. Now, this is an interesting one. It's obviously the data. There's a real pull between the technocrats keeping your data, by the way, and the government getting access to that data. Now, it seems like we're stuck between a rock and a hard stone there because I don't trust either of these lot, but there is a fight over your data here, by the looks of it anyway, on the surface. Apple is taking legal action to overturn a demand made by the UK government to view its consumer private data if required. So the UK government want to see it. The BBC understands that the US technology giant has appealed to the Investigatory Powers Tribunal, an independent court with the power to investigate claims against the security service. It's the latest development in an unprecedented row between one of the world's biggest tech firms and the UK government over data privacy. So they want to know what you're doing, but that's the power now. It will be all data driven of what you're doing, where you're doing it, when, how, what they can sell to you, what you need, how they can manipulate you, how you are reacting, all of these things. A massive mind control system um, will be their currency, and that's what they will sell to each other, or that's how they will control people from now on. In January, Apple was issued with a secret order by the Home Office to share encrypted data belonging to Apple users around the world with UK law enforcement in the event of a potential national security risk or threat. Now, they can just make that up as they go along. What is a national security threat? Could be someone just saying something that you don't agree with, put an opinion out there that you don't agree with. They need to know who's got this wrong opinion. You can see it coming together, but there's an argument over who gets the power of that information. Data protected by Apple's standard level of encryption is still accessible by the company if a warrant is issued, but the firm cannot view or share data encrypted using its toughest privacy tools. So he's trying to convince you that Apple don't even know what it is. I don't believe that for a second. Advanced data protection. So this is an ADP. This is something that they have on their products. ADP is an opt-in feature and is not known how many people use it. Well, they won't tell you that because that's the data, isn't it? Obviously, but of course, somebody knows somewhere. Some system knows how many people use it. Last week, Apple chose to remove ADP from the UK market rather than comply with the notice. Isn't that the same thing? Which would involve creating a backdoor in the tool to create access. So here we have a system there where it's quite clear there's a fight for big data over the technocracy bureaucrats and your governments that you supposedly voted in, although, what choice do you really have when the blue and the reds are on the same team anyway? So you could see this technocracy moving in. You can see that all gathered about around Donald Trump. You know that Rishi Sunak was very much involved with Infosys for his wife, which is an Israeli tech firm. You can see that this big tech is the next thing. It's the same. McDonald's is even going to be getting rid of their staff and using AI to give you your McNuggets and your McFlurry. It's going to be all data driven and all security driven, and it's all going to be smart cities. And we know this. We've been speaking about this for years. That the Club of Rome and all these trilateral commissions, Keir Starmer, these guys have always talked about this. They're going to dress it up as being better for the environment, safer for you. There'll be low levels of crime, but what is a crime when you speaking out against someone and saying your opinion that doesn't match the the communist party's um, outlook on the world? Is that a crime? They can make anything a crime. They could change the rules when they want, and especially if they have this technology everywhere. So these stories tend to just blend into each other. They really do. It's the technology I will be watching out for. And obviously, when you go to McDonald's next time, make sure you don't have any McNuggets in your McFlurry because you might McChoke. So we like to end each week on a positive story. So this week I'm going to keep it in house. Their charity bike ride to raise money for the vaccine injured. It was a cause that their sister Kerry was very passionate about. Unfortunately, Kerry passed away late, not last year, the year before. And obviously, they've done this in her honor. She would have been 50 on March the 7th, which would be the day this is going out. So our thoughts are with her. The boys have done a fantastic job. They've raised insane amount of money. So it says on here, this is their Just Give page. The 7th of March is what would have been our sister Kerry's 50th birthday. She sadly left us on Monday, the 11th of December 2023, at the age of 48 after a battle with cancer. The three of us have all done a number of charity challenges over the years. Kerry herself climbed Ben Nevis some years ago. Gareth swam the Solent 4 miles. And Jamie ran a 50k ultramarathon in 2024. So, in honour of her 50th birthday, we will be cycling from Leicester Royal Infirmary, where she was born, to Seaview on the Isle of Wight, where she used to swim in the sea every morning. That's a 200 mile even bike ride. The two lads have done everyone proud, and their target was £10,000, and it's absolutely mind blowing. So, as the time of reading this, they have raised £9,170, 91% of that, and 291 people have supported them. So, thank you to every single person who shared this and supported the boys. I'm sure Kerry is looking down and being incredibly proud of her brothers. So there's some positive news to go into the weekend. Remember, if you need some coffee and you need to wake up to the world, you can head over to shop.iconic.com and use the code trending to get 10% off. And I will see you next week. Take care. Goodbye.